Hello, Passionpreneurs. This is your friend, your mentor, your coach, Gadhvi. And as you know, I always come with an inspiring personality who has not only found their passion, but also looking to impact others, and they're already impacting many people with the passion. With that, today's episode, I'm really excited and really thrilled to welcome one amazing personality. She is the person. I was looking at the different content, and I followed her for some time, and I see a lot of coaches and trainers, they look at the social media and they put the superficial message and content. When I looked at her message, I said, wow, this is deep. And when person is going so deep into an element of which is something very important in all our life, which is happiness, then I know for sure that she is coming from the place of experience and not from the bookish knowledge. So with that, I have a pleasure to welcome Simi Arora, all the way from the US, who is a coach who teaches how to be happy and how to declutter and de-stress your life and thrive and create your own happiness reality. She also is an upcoming author. So with that, let's welcome Simi Arora. Simi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. That was such a beautiful introduction, and so glad to be here with you on the show.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So Simi, I have a little bit of your background. Some of your followers have some background, but for the Passionpreneurs community, can you give us a background as to what inspired you to follow this route and follow your passion of creating the happiness and impacting a lot of lives? So where did this journey begin?
Wow, that's a very heavy loaded question. And I would not go into the really big story, but I will definitely go into the very important aspects of how it started and why it turned out to be such a big movement of my life. Well, I came to US in 2012, and I'm originally from India. And like many kids, I grew up feeling a little emotionally deprived, not for specific problems, that some kids go through, but maybe generally some kids don't have that emotional stability, and they find some of the environmental challenges, they kind of put up a lot of pressure on them, and they're always in the escaping mode. So I was academically very strong. Everything was fine at the outside, but internally I was more like, wasn't aware of who I was really. So I thought maybe if I'll get married and I'll have a good life, this is going to solve my problem. I'll have something else that, probably is going to take my attention away, and then life is going to be great. So I came to US after getting married to a guy, and it was a decision of my life that really turned around everything. It was, I would say, not anybody's fault that it broke down, but more importantly, I would say, was my own misunderstanding about who I was that put me into that situation of being with a person who was a misfit. And most importantly, I didn't like the person I was personally as well. So I was agitated, irritated, not happy, and not even sure what I was doing with my life. And on top of that, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. My marriage broke down, and that put me into another type of mental health disorders because I was alone. It was just 6 months in the US. I didn't know anybody, and I was living in this small little apartment by myself, and I didn't have the courage to tell my parents that I was divorced. So it was crazy, right? Because there were so many different emotional havocs in my life at that time that I had to come across and be socially still present. Because when something like this happens to you, you kind of get into your own cocoon and you don't want to talk about things, and you're miserable internally. You can't accept what happened to you, and especially when you had a great career back in India and you're attractive, and then there are so many people available, and here you are miserable, right? So it put me into anxiety disorder and depression, and at one point in my life I was suicidal. And at the face of everything, I was fit, I was working out, I was going to the gym, I had the greatest body, I had a very good job with Time Warner Cable, I was making money, but internally I was crumbling down. And that was the time I realized that no money, no body, no other relationship is going to save me. I can save myself by myself, and that's the only way out. And when you have to fix your outside, you have to first fix your inside. And that's where this whole journey started, which definitely started from self-realization and most importantly, accepting where I was. It was really important for me to accept that, okay, my marriage has broken down, I'm in a mess, and my father doesn't know, and it's all a big shit. Like, how would I ever overcome it? And on top of that, I'm under antidepressants that are making me feel trapped. And that whole journey, was either defeating, or I had to overcome it and be a victor, or really understand what is something that is really important in our lives. What is something which really, was trying to come out of me. And I probably took it in the positive stride and started my spiritual journey, which got into many different layers of understanding the reasons of existence, my purpose, and most importantly, how to be happy at all the times.
Well,
So
that's very interesting story, and I must tell you that's really inspiring as well, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. We end up in situation because of a lot of societal norms and the pressure and conditioning. And one of those society's norm is to get married, and especially, you're coming from India, that going to US is like a dreamland. Oh, the ideal life. Okay, get married, go to US, and you're settled. Well, it works for a lot of people, but it comes with a lot of bondages. If the connection is not well with your partner, if the things are not working out, I think on the outside, you can be looking great, but the disease that is here, people are not able to detect it. So how did you go through this journey of somebody who went through this pain, ending up in a wrong relationship? How did you start your journey on spiritual? How did, the biggest question for a lot of people is, look, I am in this deep mess. My life sucks. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not satisfied. Or the best is I just live a mediocre life. Nothing is exciting about my life. How did you? Yeah.
So, what I believe now is, and I work with so many clients one-on-one, and especially most of my clients are big CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs. That's my key area when it comes to one-on-one coaching. And I've noticed that, and I also observe in my life that this one decision that we say that, oh, we made a wrong decision, or we got into this mess all over again and again, because sometimes people keep on continuing to get into wrong relationships. This all starts really early. Most of our conditioning has already happened by the age of 15, 16, which is kind of building the base of our brain, which is kind of building, our understanding and perception about life. The kind of environment I was in, I was always in threat. So I felt threatful at a young age. And for me, the world was a difficult place. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of why that was the case, but it happens with a lot of kids. It happens with a lot of people who didn't have a really strong emotional base as a child. It starts really early, and sometimes we kind of layer this up. But when we hit some turning point in life where we had to make major decisions, I think that scarcity becomes the trigger to make those decisions. And as I said before, that if you're fulfilled internally, you're never going to make a wrong choice, because your brain and your heart coherence has happened, and you're aware of where you want to go because you're so clear about your vision and goals. And I had no idea. So this is the point that I really wanted to make, because as a parent, it's really important to kind of gauge on your child and really understand if you are providing emotional support and clarity and those virtues in your child, that your child is stable internally, not only the external environment where you're paying for their fee and giving them all the gadgets, because it doesn't do nothing, right? They can do it for themselves at the later age as well. But the foundation of your child's life is the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
But nevertheless, when that happened, I think most important thing that I realized was that, okay, this is what is there already. Either I find the purpose in my pain, or I just die. These are the two options I have. Either I'll just be miserable and one day I'll kill myself, or I have to find the purpose in the pain. So I think I chose to do that. And by the way, the title of my book is Purpose and Pain, the book which is coming in April. So in that case scenario, what I realized that I wanted to live, because I was very upbeat person. I was a happy person as a character. And I knew that if there is no purpose in my coming all the way to US without having any kind of innate desire, because I already traveled the world with my earlier company. I was based in Gurgaon, and I was pretty much traveled all over the world. So it wasn't like a fascination. It wasn't a dream. It was nothing to do with that. But I'm here, away from my family, friends, people that I love and care. And what the hell am I doing here? There has to be a purpose. And I wanted to unveil that. Because there was no going back. I wasn't coming back to India. I had to find out the purpose. And when you ask the right question to the universe responds back with synchronicities. I started to Google out the things like, Google is the new mother, right? So it's like, okay, I want to go find out the peace and, detachment from these attachments that I have built up with my ex relationship, and especially with the idea, the mental story that I had about myself, that I'm successful, I'm beautiful, I have everything going on with my life. I was extremely successful. I had a lot of money. I had this big fat Indian wedding. What the hell just happened? Right? So accepting that, okay, you could be here and then you could come down, and then there is a purpose to, go beyond it. I think that was one of the right questions that I asked myself. What's the purpose behind it? And that led me into the journey of self-realization. That's what I would say.
That's a very interesting point, Simmi, because I think that it's the deepest and darkest moments of our lives are the next direction of where our life should be, or why we are here on this planet Earth. So most of the people have found the purpose of their life in the deepest and darkest hours of their life, and I think that's the classic example of your life as well.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you were going through this journey of self-realization, what sort of questions that you asked yourself apart from, hey, what's my purpose? Like, there are so many people today, they're going through the tough time, but they have only one question to ask. What is the purpose of my life? Do you have few set of questions that, people should definitely ask? Like, the question that I've got, a lot of people that they begin the journey say, how much money do I want to make? Which is such a bad question to ask, But if you have to have first self-realization of who you are, what sort of questions would they ask themselves?
See, self-realization, when I speak about self-realization, it's not only the self-awareness. It begins with self-awareness. The realization that I'm talking about is a good, fat journey of 5 to 6 years of my life. And when I talk about self-realization, I literally mean enlightenment. And that is available to everybody, and you don't have to be a monk for that. You don't have to be in a certain type of clothing and sitting in a certain temple for that. Enlightenment is all about understanding the bigger existence, understanding how I am just not a localized entity, but I'm a part of everything else. How I'm just not a little individual fighting and, struggling with life, but I am one with it, and everything is available to me, right? So that's what self-realization is, and which usually takes a little longer time. And for me also, it wasn't, hey, I want to be self-realized. No, it wasn't like that. It started from self-awareness. I think the major question that I asked myself was, at that time, because a lot of people who are in anxiety disorder and they're getting panic attacks, and I was getting panic attacks so often that I couldn't even sit in my car. Like I remember the day it was snowing outside, it was freezing cold, and I could not put the window up. I had to have the window down because otherwise I will collapse. I've had planes stopped on the way. I remember a flight from New York to Vegas, and I just couldn't sit on the flight. I had panic attacks there. I was in hospital very often. 911 used to come at my door very often. So at that time, because I was in an extreme situation, I just wanted to fix myself. I wanted to be happy. And I think the very important thing that we need to ask ourselves is that, am I truly happy? Because sometimes when your mind is very chaotic and very disturbed and very stressed, you don't get the panic attacks. Not everybody gets the panic attacks. But even if you are worried and stressed, Ask yourself, what is something that I'm not able to feel? Am I not happy? If I'm not happy, what is it that's missing? Let's find that out, because it's very simple. The whole purpose of this existence or this universe is, the core of it, this is love and happiness.
True.
Everything is expanding, right? One flower becomes two flowers out of the love, right? This whole creation is based on love and happiness. So if I'm not, happiness is my natural nature, right? But the problem is our mind takes us away from that. And then mind is what is? Mind is the combination of those thoughts and recycled information of the past conditioning. And that past conditioning is so powerful that it stops us from living in the present moment. So when I say that I want to be happy, and if I'm not happy, so what's the problem? The problem is that you don't know what you're thinking. You have zero attention on your thoughts. And most importantly, you're either living in the past or living in the future, and never in the present moment, right? So I think even for some people, living in the present moment is a big struggle. And I think that's where I started. So I started to do a lot of meditations and mindfulness. I went to Buddhists, I went to Brahma Kumaris, I went to yoga ashrams. I spent a really good deal of time in, exploring all these places so I could.
Did you go to Vipassana as well?
Vipassana only for some time, but I'm a Vedanta practitioner now, because I think that's where I got my, like, but for somebody to really absorb Vedanta, you have to have a journey, because it's the supreme knowledge, and to listening it is the one thing, but then absorbing it in your daily life is something that your soul has to be evolved for that. But we're not going there yet. What we're really trying to simplify is that happiness is all that is. If you're happy, your energy is always up. You want to, contribute to the world. If you're happy, you want to go back to your workplace and, perform your best of the duties. If you're happy, you are going to give your best to your relationships. If you're happy, there's just innate energy and potential which is always coming out. It's the most natural place to be in.
That's true. That's true. And do you believe happiness is a choice?
Happiness is a choice that we make all the moment, and happiness is always linked to the present moment. You can dream about something or visualize something, but internally, that's not the reality. The reality is the very moment that you're experiencing right now. And that's what Lord Buddha said, right? If you're not aware of something which is happening right now, it's not even in your real experience. So being here and now and experiencing whatever this moment is bringing is naturally going to put you in the happiness mode. You don't have to try to be happy then.
Wow. Okay. So what I'm understanding here, if I have to just articulate it in my way, so happiness is already within. You don't have to seek for it. You just have to experience as it is already there within you. You don't need any options which are external or reasons which are external to be happy. You can be happy at the moment, right now. And you can be in the middle of a mess, but you can still be happy. Or you can be
Yeah, this is a beautiful way of putting it. And I also wanted to extend this when I say that happiness is available, but then your mind messes it up, because your mind is a junkyard. It's a great tool. It's a great tool because it has the capacity. Your brain has 100 billion neurons, and your brain is highly neuroplastic, and it has amazing capability to store information, to enhance learning, cognitive powers, and all those intellectual skills that your brain can help you with. But then there is one part of the mind which is all about defensiveness, because our brain has evolved in the past, which was always in a threatful situation. You if you were living in the cave and you wake up suddenly and you like, either have to kill this tiger or it's going to kill me, right? That's the kind of brain. It's called primitive brain. So we have still a very defensive primitive brain. So what happens is the moment we wake up in the morning, if we don't take the control of the mind, it takes the control and it tells you, hey, you got to go reach office at 9 a.m. Oh my God, my boss is this and this and this. All this conversation starts up building in the head. And then you don't have a plan for the day. You have zero priming for the day. So what's going to happen is everything is on autopilot, because you have no filter in your mind to plan ahead, to focus on the very moment and deliver your best. There's no plan of action. And other thing that I really focus on, in my work areas, to allow my clients to realize that life is not against you. Life is in your favor. Right now, if you look at your body, your heart is beating, your lungs are working, your digestive tract is all performing its job without your any, volunteer interference. It's happening. If life was not in your favor, you would not be standing here, this sound and this beautiful and everything is working by itself. No, you're born and you're here to express your truth. Life is already in your favor. But what is the only thing that is stopping you from being the best version of yourself is a conditioned mind, is a mind that is not trained right, is an awareness, is also one of the additional thing that I always add up is that knowing that I'm not my mind, because a lot of people think that they are their thoughts and they believe in every thought that they think. There's no way that they can analyze that these thoughts are just merely a probability, which could turn out to be a possible outcome only if I pay attention to it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very interesting concept, and let's just go a little deep into this about you are not your mind. So from the spiritual aspect, one of my partner, Ron Malhotra, I heard this from him, and he says that if, let's say, we change your name, would you become a different person? Like if Simmi is not Simmi, would you become a different person? No. Even if whatever I call you, you will still be the same person. Okay, all right. So if we remove the name out of the context, you are still who you are. If we take your nationality away, whether you're in India or in US, would you not be you? You would still be you. Okay. What if we take all your other elements out of the equation? Let's say if you lose your hand, would you still not be you? You will still be you. So that means the body is not you, name is not you, right? Your cultural, places or regions that you come from is not you. Your skin color doesn't decide who you are. In the same way, when mind is not you. So the question is, who are you?
Beautiful. Love it. I think that's where we need to dig in, right? And who we really are. But I think a lot of people identify, as you said, with their labels, with their status, with where they want to go, with their goals. In fact, to be very honest, attaching yourself with your purpose can also be a little bit of problem, because anything that you attach your mind with is bound to give you some sort of pain somewhere in some point. So, but purpose is important because it directs your mind, right? So you have this energy field that you operate in, and if you don't direct it, it's all over the place. So when you direct it towards a particular purpose, then it gives you the results that you're looking to experience. And to answer this question, that's a very heavyweight question about who we really are. But to just kind of understand one very simple thing, let's not go into the intellectual part of who am I. Very simple thing. What am I really doing since the time I'm born? I'm doing nothing, but I'm just taking an experience. Everything is an experience. If I say that I want to make $1 million, what does it mean? That I want to make an experience of feeling the financial freedom, or probably being able to do something with that financial freedom, which is again going to give me what? Happiness.
Yes.
Why do I want to reach to a certain level? Why? Why am I trying to create an impact? Why? Why can't I just be this, not doing anything? Why? It's because what our specific mindset, or what our specific mental personality is, to utilize the skills and abilities that I'm aware of. I'm aware that I have certain specific skills and abilities and impact and a voice that matters. And I'm going to open it up to everybody else so that people can, all this humanity can take some advantage of it. And which is an experience for me. And what is it going to give me? Happiness. What you really are trying to do every day, every moment of your life, is to put yourself in the happiness mode. That's all it is. And you can name it through an impact, you can name it through money, you can name it through relationships or having kids or whatever. What you're really seeking is an experience. So if I'm seeking an experience, where is that experience? It's in my awareness. My experience is not in your awareness. It's in my awareness. My world is in my awareness. What I make out of this world, what I perceive out of this world is in my awareness, perceived through the filter of my lens, filter of my mind, basically. So if my mind is a filter to perceive the world on the basis of my understanding and learning, and also my personality, my skill sets and abilities, I'm going to make a sense out of the world, where the world is a crazy place to live in or where the world is an amazing place to live in. So of course, if you go into the spiritual understanding of this, then, as per non-duality and Vedanta perspective, we are nothing but the awareness or the consciousness in which everything is appearing and disappearing, including my body, because my body is an experience. Every second, 100,000 cells in my brain collapses and they're reborn. Every 7 days, the whole outer skin of my body is changed. Every 1 year, my whole skeleton of the body is changed. So the body that you're seeing as a static is actually moving every damn second. And millions of combinations are being made every second. So body is an experience, mind is an experience, but it is happening in my awareness. Without I being aware of it, there is no experience.
That's an interesting point. That's beautifully put across. And that's what I was talking to you guys. If you're listening to this, this is what I was talking to you about, deep, deep knowledge and wisdom that you acquired. So let's say if I don't have the awareness at the level that you are at. I don't have the self-realization that you are at, but I still want to begin at the place where I am at. I don't know what to do in life. I am stressed. I am worried. I have anxiety. What are the steps that you would recommend me to do as a layman?
Mm-hmm. The very first thing is to accept that I have something which is not right. I'm experiencing something that is not right. I think acceptance is really big, because when we put things under the cover, when we don't accept, a lot of people are in the denial mode because it's against their ego. The ego mind is really powerful, and they don't want to say it to the public or to their friends or to their family, especially men, because I work more with men, 60% with men. And I realized that most of men, they feel this discomfort of accepting that they are in pain, or there's something which is not right, or they are not performing.
Alpha male ego kicks in. I'm male. I'm not supposed to cry. I'm not supposed to be this.
This is also the mental conditioning for generations, right? So this acceptance that, okay, there is something missing. Okay, let's try to find it out. You don't have to beat yourself up, but you can at least question yourself that, okay, I'm uncomfortable. I'm in distress. I'm anxious, and I need to figure out. And then second step is to slowly build a separation and tell yourself that I don't know who I am. Let's say I'm not self-realized, but I do know that I'm not my thoughts. That's a really good place to start. I'm not my thoughts. So what is it that's telling me that I'm anxious? Oh, my mind is telling me that I'm anxious. So I know that I'm not my mind, and I don't have to be my mind. And third is, do I have the power to change this thought? Can I think a little bit differently? And then be like, okay, I can think differently, but how do I feel differently? Because I am anxious, right? So then you go back to the same thing. But who is telling me that I'm anxious? It's my mind who's telling me that I'm anxious, which is based on my past conditioning, or my overthinking about the past mistakes that I've done, or my anticipation of the future. Can I just be right here in this very moment and feel nothing at all? And just be totally blank. And that's what we call mindfulness, also to be in the present moment awareness. And then slowly, when people are able to feel that separation, feeling that separation is enough. You don't have to understand intellectually who you are. It's not important. But just knowing that who the hell I am have the power to kind of tweak these thoughts, to kind of think differently, to kind of feel differently. Because what happens is our thoughts are connected with our body. Our thoughts are producing our body. So it happens in like milliseconds. The moment I have a particular thought, the brain, certain neural networks are ignited, and their impulses start to move in a separate part of the brain, and that immediately send the signals to the body, and you'll feel a sensation in the body. And that's why when you're anxious, I used to have this churning in my stomach and my heart palpitations, and it was immediate, like within a fraction of a second I could feel that. And when I started to meditate, I was able to alter my nervous system, which we call as to be getting into the parasympathetic nervous system, by just relaxing my brain neurons and the connections and the impulses in the brain. So that's why we say that mind is a working brain. What really it means is that your thought is using the faculty of the brain to produce a sensation in the body. So these three things are interlinked. So if I change the thought and let it sit on, let my consciousness sit on that particular thought, it will produce a certain different type of sensation in the body as well. And then the body sends a signal to the brain, all right, I'm feeling safe, I'm feeling better. And then the brain registers it and builds an experience, and then brings in new cells in the brain and new neural connections in the brain. And slowly and steadily, you'll start to feel that you're building up a little bit more control on the way you're thinking. Because there's no problem in you. There is no problem in anybody apart from not being able to look at your mind, witness your mind, and alter your thinking process.
Well, these are the really good steps. Guys, this is deep. You got to go deep. You have to listen to this few times to grasp it, understand it, and implement it. That's one of the things. And I've also seen that your feelings are not derived by any external incidences. Like, for example, I had a job loss, or I didn't get that deal, or I didn't get something which I wanted. It is not the event which is impacting you on how you're feeling. It's your interpretation of what has happened externally is what is deciding how you're feeling. Because right now, you're probably not conscious that your mind was expecting something and it was not, expectation was not met. So it had a feeling of disappointment, and the brain went into a loop, constant loop of all the negative thoughts and negative beliefs. And if you don't have the consciousness of, hey, what is happening? Why is my brain generating this? Okay, and if you don't separate that thing from who you are and how you should respond to it, you will be in the loop. And it will be, minutes will become hours, and hours will become days, and it'll become years. Who knows better than Simmi, right?
Totally. And I do also think that, we all have the capability to make our lives better. We all have the capability to transform our lives. And I'm the living example. And I think all of us have that faculty within us. And the most important thing that all of us need to focus on is to really express ourselves authentically. Like, for example, a rose comes in, all right? A rose shows up. It's not bothered about what the other people are thinking about it. It doesn't care whether you like it or you don't like it. It doesn't care about your personal preferences and opinions about the beautiful rose. It's just gonna show up. It's just gonna bloom. It's just gonna give its authentic expression. That's all it is. Life is all about that. You show up with what you got, and that's all it is. And I started to notice as well, since I've grown in my career, in my practice, and there's a tribe that follows the content. I don't like to say follow me, I like to say the content, because then it's also getting in your ego mind and all that. So I'm heavily inspired by the love and affection from people, because I think that's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I believe that some of the people are going to pull you down. There are some people, not too many people in my life personally, but there are so many people in so many other people's life who would like to say you the things that probably doesn't go very well with their thought process. And I think, first of all, from your perspective, when somebody judges you, I'm talking about anybody, even a mom or a person who's working in an organization or a business person, you are bound to get judged because you are not them and they're not you. And they're coming from the place of conditioning. So always understand, when somebody's judging you, they're coming from the place of conditioning. And what they're offering to you in terms of their words is what they have inside of them. So you don't feel bad about what others said to you, because they're coming from what they got inside of them, and which is none of your business. Okay? Your business is to express yourself like a rose or a lily and just be authentic about it. That's all it matters. And secondly, in terms of where they are, is also allowing you to either build the negativity about them or the compassion. So when you build up more compassion and you think that, okay, you know what, because they are in pain, because they are not there yet where happiness is available to them, they are just going to express what they got. And I have to be compassionate because I know that happiness is available to them. I think when you expand your heart like that, automatically you are increasing your vibration, you are increasing the energy field. And scientifically, I mean, I'm going a little bit into the science now, because science and spirituality are heavily, heavily linked. And I am very deeply into neuroscience, epigenetics, and quantum physics, because I really want to bring out the understanding of our universe and the cosmic energy and how the system works in resonance with our own bodies too. So our heart has electromagnetic field that goes up to 8 kilometers. Our brain has electromagnetic field. Our brain is literally the transducer of the signals that we can, absorb from the universe and express out there. So when we are in proximity of a person whose field is down, we automatically can, assess that there's some energy conflict there. But then you always be more compassionate, because that, increases your aura, your energy field, and you are vibrating at the frequency of resonating with the abundance, because abundance out there, or the energy of the goodness, is only available to you when you vibrate and you resonate with that energy. So that's what I really wanted to bring the message up, because there were moments in my life too, when initially when somebody wrote, you're fake, you're just using the social media to be popular, and those kind of comments, which is very
Oh God,
rare.
that's very common. That's very common when you're on social media.
So, yeah, and it happens with the new budding entrepreneurs a lot, because it could really derail you and mess up with your confidence, because it takes confidence to show up, right? It takes some gut and some energy to show up. My first video was crazy. When I look back, I'm like, what the hell I was talking about? So without, I think, all of us together, nobody's successful. We are only successful because there are people to listen, who are listening to us. Otherwise, you can be the best person sitting in your room, but it doesn't do anything to anybody.
True. Yeah. That's really interesting. So let's talk about, since we've spoken about the social media, since you spoke about the passion, how did you started converting this passion of helping people into a business? Because that's what Passionpreneur is all about, like, building your business around passion. So how did you start converting the passion into business? You stumbled upon it because you went through the personal challenge and you overcome that challenge. You solved that problem yourself. So how did you monetize what you loved about this?
First of all, I don't like to call it a business. Business is a very small part of it, because the transaction that is monetary is only one part of what I do. Majorly, it is inspired by a vision. And it really took me a long time to get really inspired by that vision, because initially when I started, of course, I had a very difficult transition, because I was alone. I had no support financially whatsoever. And also I started to just feel that calling within me, because when I was spiritually elevated, I went and ahead and got myself ICF certified and did the life coaching program, which is a good place to begin, but that's not what makes you a coach in real sense. What really makes you a coach is way more of continuous learning and experiencing, and of course, providing the value. But most importantly, it started off by just delivering the value. It wasn't a business in the very beginning. I was just showing up, just doing the work. And one fine day I realized that if I really want to do this, because I'm not good at anything else now. So I wanted to burn the bridges. I was in IT field. I had a really strong career. And then I left that. I went into real estate because I wanted to have some side money to support this. And then I'm like, real estate agent. So what the hell am I? Because I'm good at everything. I'm a really smart woman. I mean, I can get things done, right? I'm a great salesperson, but this is not who I am. And the thing that you can really notice in a lot of people's life is that the people that you are around, because the profession that you are in is actually deciding your characteristics, is deciding how you're going to spend your day and what kind of conversations you're going to have. If you're sitting with a set of people for a particular type of job, the things that you're going to talk about are going to be entirely different. And when you're a coach or a trainer or whatever it is, the conversations that you're going to have is entirely different. And I was so drawn towards those conversations. My heart and mind was aligned towards it. So I was like, all right, it's a risk, but let's do it. It didn't go really well in the first year. I lost a lot of money, of course, and it wasn't planned. It was just because I wanted to do it. So, and good part about being in the US is that if you fail, or if you are not making enough money, you can do a side hustle. You can work in McDonald's, you can work anywhere part-time, and you can still support it. So I knew that somebody's going to hire me in McDonald's at least if nothing works out. So I was like, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And fortunately, a lot of mentors came along in terms of teaching me how to put this together. And this is what I always say: when you are clear on what you really want and you're going after it fearlessly, then the whole universe will come together and support you in many different ways, ways.
So my question is how to become fearless, because I know a lot of listeners are like, look, I want to take the leap of faith and leap of belief, whatever it is, and quit my job and I follow my passion, start making money as well. But how do you get that, courage or fear? Is there a tablet for that?
Giving more importance to your intuition and desire than your in mind. Okay? Because mind is a place of memories, and your memories are not you. Somebody failed in a business, you will acquire that knowledge. My father told me so, you'll acquire that knowledge, and you keep on building that memories, and you see other people's successes and they're like, oh, if that person is doing that thing, I'm going to be successful as well. No, you have to listen to your own heart, your own intuition, your own desire. The very fact that you have innate desire in you signifies that it means something. So you work with the desire and ask yourself, is it a true desire, or is it just a thought because I'm seeing other people being successful as an entrepreneur? No, because entrepreneurship is a really hard journey. It's not an easy job. It is very, very hard. And when you're ready for that, you have to give that desire enough momentum and power and fuel to bring some sort of outcome. And the moment you start to get some little successes, build up on it then. You're not going to be fearless, like a fearless, crazy maverick going and doing stuff. No, but you will give more of energy to that desire and that feeling of intuition that this is who I am, than your mind, than the junk in the mind. So I'll always say that you know what you really want, but what is stopping you is your recycled memories, which are stopping and holding you back.
That's very interesting. So what is your vision then? Simmi, what do you want to do in life? What is the legacy that you want to leave? Or vision?
Yeah, the legacy question is very heavyweight, and I don't think I really care about that. What I really care about is that as long as I'm here, and I will be able to give people that real important information and tools to build their desired reality. Building their desired reality is available to all of us. And it's not only available psychologically, spiritually, but scientifically as well. If you go into the quantum physics, there's an interconnectivity which is there. I was, just quickly giving you a study that I saw yesterday. It was like the human DNA literally changes the photon's placement. So photon is the smallest particle of the universe, of which I am made, you are made, and the whole cosmic, everything is made up of. So human DNA was placed with the photon in a small box, and the whole air was taken out and was completely vacuum. And then they noticed that the human DNA was influencing the photons to kind of place in a certain way and follow the tail of the DNA. So they figured out that human DNA has the capacity to change the universal reality that they're living in. Because if they are able to really influence the photons, which is the building block of the universe, then obviously our material reality can be shaped by our own thoughts. Why on the thoughts? Because there was another evidence that suggested that human emotion directly affects the human DNA. So human DNA is coiled form of information that suggests how your nose is going to shape up and how your potential is going to be expressed in the world. So when your emotions are positive, the DNA opens up a little bit and it expresses its full potential. And when you are thinking negatively, you have anger, jealousy, the coil gets tightened and you're not able to, your immunity is low, you fall sick earlier, and your cognitive powers are lowered. So literally human emotion affects DNA, DNA affects the universal reality, So basically what we can say is that human emotion directly affects your reality in the physical way as well, in terms of synchronicities, law of attraction. So my messaging to the world out there is to understand that you're not a victim. Understand that you can choose to think differently, which is going to build a different brain and a different body, which is going to override your circumstances even. And all that is available and all that is there. So that's my mission and vision. And if I'll see a better world around me, if I'll see that my energy and in fact our combined healing energy is making this world a better place, that's all I care for.
That's really nice. So what are your top 3 initiatives of 2020? One, I know your book is coming up. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Yes, 2020 is a great year because I'm expanding my business. I'm also looking to, of course, release my book. And also, I think on the other side that I want to be more driven with my inspiration, because a lot of times I want to be very real. Your ego mind kicks in, and your ego mind tells you that, oh, this is the number I want to hit, right? This is the number I want to hit. But what happens is that your true happiness doesn't lie in that number. Your true happiness lies in your full explosion of the potential. And I'm also working with Prajavla, which is a sex trafficking organization in India. And I've just signed up with them, and I'm going to do some of the events to find the donation for them, because I believe that we need to not only use our mental energy and our voice, but also physically help and support some of the causes that we believe in. And sex trafficking in India, in Bangladesh, and all these countries is way higher than anywhere in the world. And also the most important thing is child sex trafficking. So it's huge. And I think if we can really support even a couple of children, getting out of that mess and living a normal life, I think I'll feel really, really, that I've done something. So I think I'm coming from the place of givingness and compassion, and rest everything is going to follow. Money is going to follow. So I think that's how we all need to be addressing this world together, because we live here, and we need to be not only focusing on ourselves, but also as everybody as an extension of us. And some people are less fortunate to be sitting in their cozy homes. They don't have the accessibilities that we have, right? And majority of the population, especially in the countries like India, don't have those flexibilities. So if we do something little for them, that kind of brings a lot of change.
That's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. Let's do a quick final round of rapid fire words.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I'm gonna give you one word, and you have to respond immediately with maybe 1 or 2 or maybe less than 1 sentence. Okay, whatever comes to your mind.
All right.
Ready?
Okay.
All right. Inspiration.
Comes from within.
Passion.
Is overrated.
Care.
Is everything.
Love.
Is a sense of life.
Money.
Is a great mean to buy a lot of luxury.
Business.
Is a transaction, but it does bring a lot of change in society.
Pain.
Pain has a purpose.
Desires.
Desires tell you that you are connected with the universe and it's playing through you.
Simi Arora.
Now, let me tell you why I said passion is overrated, because your brand is on passion, right? What I believe is that a lot of people don't understand passion properly, right? So I can wake up one morning and say that I'm passionate about it. But what happens is, why do people lack passion? Then what happens is that 10 days later, the passion is over. So the reason is because our clarity about our passion is missing. In the general public, when we say that I'm passionate about is only at the superficial level, where people think that if they have a certain type of lifestyle and it's linked to a particular passion. Passion is a big driver. It's a really big driver. In fact, when people meet me, they said, you're very passionate. They tag me like that, because that passion is not coming from the place of a certain scarcity that I have to remove or certain luxury that I have to achieve. It's coming from a very clear why. Even if it is a luxury that you want, there's nothing wrong in it, but you accept that I'm passionate about a particular experience that I want to build in my life, right? Passionate entrepreneurship is really awesome when it's backed by a clarity and purpose. So first of all, I want to congratulate you for doing this amazing, amazing work, because I see, you as one of those very exclusive people who came from a very different background and build this up with a vision, with a clarity, with a purpose. And I think when you name it as a passion, what I sense is that you're coming from a very deeper purpose behind it. And that's 100%. What is making it so beautiful.
100%. Thank you so much. See, that's why I said that you have the deep knowledge and you go deep into the elements. A lot of people go to the surface level. For them, the passion is, passion is just like a hobby or something that you like doing. No, the passion is which you can live for and die for, because it's backed with your purpose and you're clear why. So that's when you become a passionpreneur. So I talk the same thing. I teach my mentees the same thing. So wonderful. Simmi, I know we are on the hour. If somebody wants to follow you, somebody wants to continue to learn from you, okay, the book is going to be available in April, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, that's definitely one I highly recommend. So it's name of the book is what? The Purpose in Pain?
Purpose in Pain.
Purpose in Pain. Wow, I love the name. It's very intriguing. It actually drives. Yeah, all right.
All right.
He also is passionate about
yeah, trust me. Very passionate.
All right, so that's number one. But apart from that, if somebody else wants to connect with you, learn from you, follow you, where can they find you?
Well, the easiest place to find me is on social media with Simi Arora anywhere. I'm heavily using LinkedIn these days. If you're on LinkedIn, please follow the content there. I am also on the Instagram at Simi Arora. You can find me there. And also very easy access on the website. And you can always download, there's a really amazing ebook, which is all about laws of unshakable happiness. You can download that ebook and start to get, at the beginning of understanding of how I can be truly deeply happy. So yeah, Google me. I'm everywhere.
Wonderful. That's an easy way to do it, right? We're living in a digital world that people can get connected with anybody. So right. Simmi, thank you so much for being on this Passionpreneur show. I truly believe that anybody listening to this would have a lot of aha moments and a lot of self-realization, and they will be able to become a better version of themselves. So thank you so much for being on the show.
This opportunity was my pleasure and honor to be with you and talking with you. And it was a great time. And I hope, people continue to learn from you as well, because you are doing an amazing, amazing job too. Thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.